You ever really wanted to punch your opponent in the face? Because I know I have. And I think this card is just about the closest thing we have to doing exactly that. Presenting Slaking EX.
Lucky, there's a family guy, and he's coming up next.
Let's start by talking about this card. Slaking EX is a stage 2 colorless EX with 340 HP, pretty good. It has the ability Born to Slack, which is if your opponent has no Pokemon EX or Pokemon V in play, this Pokemon can't attack, and its attack is Great Swing, which for 2 colorless does 280 damage but forces you to discard an energy from this Pokemon. Honestly, that's pretty solid. 280 for 2 colorless is kind of insane damage for that cost. Discarding 1 energy doesn't matter, and Born to Slack, the ability is admittedly sometimes a problem, but realistically, how many games are you playing in which your opponent isn't even playing a single EX? So this card looks pretty good, and most recently a player named Bernardo Diaz has managed to pilot this card in a deck to 37th place at the Stuttgart Regionals, and that is very impressive for a card like this that has realistically not seen much experimentation otherwise. Here it is, this is the 60 card list. Let's go over the card by card. We have 3 Slakoth, 1 Vigoroth, and 2 Slaking EX, 2 Duskull, 1 Dusclops, 1 Dusknoir. Dusclops and Dusknoir are very helpful in this list because 280 is a big number, but oftentimes it's not big enough. For example, a Charizard EX has 330 HP. Guess what? Dusclops does exactly 50, and now you're able to take that knockout. Or maybe if you're against a Mega, if you're throwing down Dusknoir or Dusclops, not only can you take out a Kangaskhan, but you can even take out a Mega Venusaur, right? And you can just take out basically anything in a single turn with that assistance. We're also on a 2-2-2 line of Pidgey, Pidgeotto, Pidgeot. Pidgeot is already a very solid consistency tool in any stage 2 deck, especially one that's playing Rare Candy already. But it gets even better when you realize that Pidgeot EX is also a colorless Pokemon. So a lot of the support that works with Slaking would work well with Pidgeot. We're obviously using Pidgeot for its quick search ability, but we can also technically attack with Blustery Wind if we want to, which is a bit situational, but not the worst thing ever. We also have 2 Fan Rotom that of course has Fan Call, which not only searches out our Slakoths and Vigoroths, but also our Pidgeys and Pidgeottos, so that's pretty good. And lastly, we're on 1 Badoo, 1 Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, and 1 Pheasantipede EX. Now going into the trainers, we have 4 Corset Tenacity, 3 Boss's Orders, 3 Lily's Determination, 2 Iono, 1 Hilda, 1 Blackfelt's Training. This supporter lets us hit our opponent's active Pokemon EX for 40 more damage. Again, that's really good with Slaking. We do 280, that's oftentimes not enough. That extra 40 can be a big difference maker. We have 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Buddy Buddy Poffin, 3 Rare Candy, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Sacred Ash, 1 Team Rocket's Watchtower. This is a stadium card, and this card is very interesting because it makes it so all colorless Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents, have no abilities. Normally, this is really bad in a deck like this. We're playing Pidgeot, we're playing Ursaluna. It would often be ideal for us to have those abilities online, but Slaking, who has that negative ability of stopping it from attacking, we can shut that down with Rocket's Watchtower as well, and we can always just hit for that 280. Furthermore, if our opponent has a Pokemon like Cornerstone Ogerpon, which blocks the attacks of Pokemon with abilities, guess what? We play this card, then Slaking punches right through it. We also have our ace spec of choice here, Grand Tree. This one is one that you don't see too often. This stadium basically says, hey, if you have a Pokemon on your bench that is basic and can evolve, you can evolve it straight from the deck, and then you can evolve it again straight from the deck. So this turns a Slakoth all the way to the Slaking, it turns a Duskull into a Dusknoir, it even turns Pidgey all the way to Pidgeot, but in any case, this is pretty solid. This card does have the downside of being a stadium, so it can be bumped away. It also has the downside of being reciprocal, so your opponent can benefit from it as well. But again, this card is just so powerful that it's honestly worth those drawbacks. We're also on 1 Artisan, 4 Jet Energy, 3 Ignition Energy, and 2 Boomerang Energy. Jet Energy, of course, discards itself at the end of the turn, but it is 3 colorless, so we can attach this to Slaking, attack, and then Slaking's own effect to discard the energy. Doesn't matter because Ignition Energy was going away anyways. Now, Boomerang Energy is a card that you may not have seen before because it's very specific, but this is a colorless energy that if it is discarded by an attack used by the Pokemon it's attached to, you can reattach the energy. This almost feels tailor-made for Slaking because we can just attack with the Boomerang Energy, discard it, and just reattach it, and it just is really solid there. So we have a cool Pokemon, we have a cool list. Let's see how this performs. So our first match is up against Charizard. We're going second. I think this is a pretty good showcase of what the deck is supposed to do. We lead Pidgey while the opponent leads Fez and Baneri. Mega Lopunny in general is a pretty good card that can fit into a lot of decks, but against us specifically, it's not very impactful at all, so not really a big deal to see that. They're going to Poffin twice to get some 2 Charmanders, a Pidgey, and a Tatsugiri. Then they're going to attach the Fez and retreat into that Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri can attract customers, adding a supporter from the top 7 cards of their deck to their hands, but they can't use it this turn since of course they're going first. They grab a Turo Scenario and pass their turn there. That's our move, so we draw into Slakoth for turn. We start with a Chorus's Tenacity. This allows us to grab an Artisan and a Jet Energy. We can play Artisan right now, and that actually is pretty good for us. That allows us to get Rotom right from the deck. We play Rotom, use Fan Call. We'll grab a Slakoth, a Vigoroth, and another Fan Rotom in case we need it. Then we'll bench both Slakoths. We'll play a Jet Energy onto our Fan Rotom that forces it into the active spot, and with that we can attack with Assault Landing to take the knockout on the Tatsugiri and take an early first prize. Our opponent promotes Charmander and begins their turn. I don't know if it was correct to take the early knockout, because I mean on one hand it was right there, but on the other hand now they can use Pheasantipity to draw 3 cards. So there's a debate to be had there, but I think overall that was the right choice. Anyways, our opponent will then use our Artisan to get another card from their deck. In this case they get a 3rd Charmander, not sure how you feel about that, but sure. Personally I feel like you're clogging up your bench. I mean if you have Duskull you play that instead. It's just kind of a weird choice to get the 3rd Charmander, but who am I to judge? They're going to use Iono next, which is a bit of a shame. We have a lot of good cards in here that we're losing because of that. But these new 5 are pretty good too, so I'm not going to complain. They're going to Rare Candy next, allows them to evolve their Pidgey into a Pidgeot. And of course, Pidgeot can use Quick Search, allowing them to add any card from their deck to their hand. I assume the card they added was this Rare Candy or this Charizard EX they're playing down right now. And Charizard EX, when it hits the board, will use Infernal Rain to attach 2 to their active EX and 1 onto the Baniri, so it can attack later on. And they'll use Burning Darkness to take the knockout on Fan Rotom. We'll promote Pidgey and begin our turn. So Charizard EX is a little scary, but I'm not too concerned about it. I already have a plan to sort of take this thing down. We'll start by using Artisan to get a Badoo onto the bench, and we can use Buddy Poffin. In this case, we'll just get Duskull and that's it. We can throw on the Pheasantipity, but before we use Flip the Script, we can use Grand Tree to deck in a tiny bit. The Pidgeotto they put back with Iono, that means we can evolve our Pidgey into it, and then we can evolve into the Pidgeot EX. Now our Pidgeot EX can also Quick Search, but before we do that, we'll use Flip the Script to see if we can draw into anything that we might need. We get 2 Ultra Balls and a Dusclops. We will use the Ultra Ball. In this case, we'll discard the other Ultra Ball and the Chorus. Using this, we can search out our Slaking, and we can immediately play Rare Candy to throw that Slaking onto the board. Finally, we can use Lily's Determination to get our 1-card hand into a 6-card hand. And those draws are not bad at all. We'll Quick Search now to get an energy card. In this case, we'll choose the Boomerang Energy, which can be attached onto the bench Slaking, and we can simply retreat into Badoo and unlock the opponent. Now our opponent is back up. They're going to use our Grand Tree next to evolve their Charmander up, although to be honest, I don't think I care too much here. They can't get another regular Charizard EX because it needs to be played from the hand to use its ability, so they're going to get a Mega Charizard, which is fine, but overall I'm not too scared of. Next, they're going to play their Turo Scenario to put their Charmander back to the hand. Again, I don't know why you put that Charmander down in the first place, but it's fine. The Pidgeot EX will now use its ability Quick Search to get another card from your deck. They bench Oricorio, which means they can charge up that Charizard EX right away. For right now, they're only going for the Burning Darkness, taking the knockout, which I'm not too concerned about at all. We're up now, we'll simply promote the Slaking EX. And because they let our Grand Tree stick around for a turn, we can use it again, which is something you don't see too often. Usually opponents will bump this card right away. I mean, it is a spec stadium, but we can evolve our Duskull all the way up to Dusknoir, which is a big deal here. We can also use Flip the Script, get 3 cards deeper into the deck. The second Boomerang Energy is quite nice. We would have had to search for that with Pidgeot if we didn't draw into it, but in this case, much better just have it right now. And attach that Boomerang Energy, and we can play Boss's Orders to force in the Mega Charizard EX. Then we can use Dusknoir's own ability to knock itself out to put 13 damage counters on any Pokemon on our opponent's board. We'll put that 13 onto that Mega Charizard. Our opponent will take 1 prize, and now we'll fire off the Quick Search, might as well. I realize now I probably should have searched out Counter Catcher here, because then I could have just used that instead of Boss's Orders. I would have had my supporter online still, but in this case I don't think it makes too much of a difference. Instead we just choose to get Sacred Ash. I think this isn't a terrible choice. By playing the Sacred Ash we can put our Duskull back into the deck, and we can prepare another Dusknoir play. We only play 1 Dusclops and 1 Dusknoir, so being able to recycle them like this is pretty nice. Now we'll throw down Buddy Poffin. We'll search out Duskull, and I don't think we need another Duskull, so we'll just keep the 1. And now we can take the knockout by attacking with Great Swing. Of course we have to discard a Boomerang Energy, but because it's a Boomerang Energy it comes right back. And because the Charizard is down, we now can take 3 Pride cards. Our opponent brings in the Pidgeot, which makes sense, but I don't really know what you do from here. Our opponent's going to use Quick Search, and they're going to search out any card they need, although I'm not really sure what you can get from this position that even saved you. Charizard can't one-shot Slaking, and Lopunny isn't really doing much either. Your Mega Charizard is completely down, so the Oricorio is also useless. They're just in a very, very awkward spot right now. Our opponent's going to play Boss's Orders next, bring in the Duskull. Personally, I think it would be smarter to bring in the Pheasantipity, but again, I don't think it's a huge deal. They're going to play Unfair Stamp next, which will bring our massive hand down to a mere 2 cards, while they get a new hand of 5. Next, they'll play Grand Tree to evolve their Baniri into Mega Lopunny. They can flip the script, draw more cards, but again, I feel like at this point it's just totally over. There's really nothing you can do to save yourself from all this. Our opponent's going to retreat the Pidgeot. We're going to bring in Mega Lopunny, and they are simply going to attack and take the knockout on our Duskull. They'll take their 1 prize, and we'll promote Slaking. There's really no reason to keep this dragging on more than it needs to. We'll just use Boss Orders, bring in the Pheasantipity, and attack for the knockout. And that takes our last 2 prizes, winning us the game. Our next match is up against Gardevoir. We're going first. We end up having to mulligan, but this new hand is pretty nice, so I guess I'm not too upset about that. Our opponent leads Munkidori, which is perfectly fine for us. We'll start off with our Fan Call with Rotom, and we will search out 2 Slakoth and a Pidgeotto. Unfortunately, we prize the second Pidgey, but that's not really a big deal. We'll bench our 2 Slakoth and the Pidgey, then we'll go for a Buddy Poffin to get hold of 2 Duskull. I figure it's a good idea to bench 2 just because we don't want one of those Duskulls to be sniped. I think it's important that we have a Dusclops online later on in the game. Next, we'll Jet Energy onto the Slakoth. Hopefully next turn we can draw into something like a a rare candy, and we can go into our Slaking. And if we do that, we can go Slaking plus another energy, and all of a sudden we're able to attack. Now our opponent is going to start their turn by benching Drifloon, then they're going to use Lily's Determination to draw a new hand of 8. They're going to Ultra Ball next, pitching both Clefairy and Mew to get a hold of a Ralts. They're going to bench the Ralts and pass their turn. So it's our turn now, and we'll start things off playing Hilda. This will allow us to get an evolution Pokemon and an energy card. Let's try Pidgeot EX and a Boomerang Energy. This is still a little bit rough, but it does mean that at least next turn we'll have our Pidgeot online. Luckily, our opponent is not fully set up either, so we do have a little bit of time. For now, we'll just use Yawn to put the Munkidori to sleep. They'll flip their coin, they'll get heads. That immediately wakes the Munkidori up, so we didn't really do anything there. Now it's our opponent's move again. They're going to evolve their Ralts to a Curlia. That's actually really good for us because it means that we don't have to worry about them using Gardevoir this turn. Next, they're going to attach a Psychic and an evolution to Munkidori. They're going to play Iono. It's a shame because our Pidgeot is gone, but it does mean both of us get a new hand. This is completely fine for me. They're also going to use evolution to evolve their Frillish and their Curlia into a Jellicent and a Gardevoir respectively. Again, it's a little scary to have all their scary Pokemon set up, but on the other hand, these are now EXs that are on the board. It means our Slaking can now attack, and so I am overall pretty content with this. We draw a Rotom. That's not really doing anything for us, but we'll start things off by playing Ultra Ball. We'll pitch Buddy Buddy Puffin and Fan Rotom. We don't really need either of those right now, and we can get our Pidgeot straight from the deck. With this, we can throw Pidgeot down onto the bench. We can also evolve our bench Duskull into a Dusclops. Using Quick Search, we'll grab the rare candy to evolve our Slakoth into Slaking. It's not bad at all for us, and since we have the supporter anyways, we might as well play Colress's Tenacity. We'll add Grantry and Boomerang Energy to the hand. We'll attach the Boomerang Energy onto the bench Slakoth, and we'll simply attack with Great Swing to take the knockout on the Munkidori. We'll discard the Boomerang Energy, comes right back, and now it's our opponent's move again. Our opponent promotes Drifloon. Not totally sure how I feel about that. I feel like promoting Guardy is usually the better play, although in this case, I guess they don't want to put any damage on it since we can very easily one-shot it if it has any damage. Then they're going to start things off with Earthen Vessel, pitching a Psychic Energy. They're not going to get anything here, which seems a little weird, but makes more sense if they play the Lily's Determination. They were just getting an energy in the discard pile before drawing their new hand of 8. Next, they're going to play another Earthen Vessel, pitching another Psychic Energy, getting 2 more Psychics to the hand. Next, they're going to Ultra Ball, discarding both Psychics. They'll grab a Scream Tail, and Scream Tail hits the bench. They use Secret Box next, discarding Frillish, Fez, and Lily's Determination to get Earthen Vessel, Turo Scenario, and Mystery Garden. They'll play the Mystery Garden, use Earthen Vessel, discarding the Arvin to get a Psychic Energy to hand. Now they'll use the Mystery Garden, discarding the Psychic, and drawing 3 new cards. This is very scary. Our opponent has drawn a bajillion cards, and they've also put a bajillion energy into their discard pile. But on the bright side, at least our Slaking isn't being threatened this turn. Our opponent's going to play a Nest Ball next. They're going to get another Munkidori. They'll play Psychic Embrace to put a Psychic Energy onto the Drifloon, and they'll start charging up that bench Scream Tail as well. Drifloon will retreat into that bench Scream Tail, and they can now attack with Roaring Scream to take the knockout on our bench Dusclops. Losing Dusclops is honestly a bit of a shame. Maybe I should have kept this card in my hand because we would be able to take a 3-prize turn if we had that Dusclops online. But oh well, we're going to keep going here. We'll start by using another Quick Search. With this, we'll grab Fez. I should have Ultra Balled for the Fez, but I guess it's okay here. We're going to flip the script, draw 3 more. Next, we'll throw down Grantry, getting rid of their Mystery Garden. Using Grantry, we can evolve our Slakoth into a Slaking. We can also use Boss's Orders to bring in the Jellicent. Taking out the Jellicent right now is quite nice. Additionally, that Scream Tail has energy on it, and keeping that energy on it is quite good for ensuring they won't be able to fully charge our Drifloon this turn. We'll get Lily's Determination and Ignition Energy from our prize cards, and now it's our opponent's move again. They're going to draw. They'll attach a Bravery Charm onto the Scream Tail before using Iono. It's a bit awkward for us, but it's not the end of the world. We'll draw into Dusknoir, which I don't hate. Then our opponent's going to bench Ralts. They're going to use Ultra Ball, pitching Curlia and a Psychic Energy to add another Ralts to the hand. They will use Grantry. I don't think they know how Grantry fully works if they're doing something like that, but it's fine for us. They're simply going to use Psychic Embrace. They're going to keep charging up their Scream Tail until it has enough damage, and they can finish their turn with a Roaring Scream to take out the Fezandipity. Start things off with Lily's Determination. I don't know if that's totally correct. We get a new hand of 6 cards, and none of these are playable at all. Not what I want to see. We'll use Quick Search here. We'll use this to grab Sacred Ash. We'll play the Sacred Ash. We'll put back Duskull and Dusclops, and might as well put back the Fez, I guess. Next, we can Puffin for another Duskull. Next, we'll play Grantry. Using Grantry, we'll evolve our bench Duskull into a Dusclops, and all the way into Dusknoir. We'll play Artisan to bump our own Grantry away, and then we'll take knockout on the Scream Tail. Our opponent's going to bring in Drifloon. We'll put a Darkness on the Munkidori, a Bravery Charm on the Drifloon. They'll play Artisan, getting nothing. Then our opponent is going to simply pass their turn. I'm not really sure why. They could have taken a knockout on Slaking with the help of that Munkidori, but I don't think it really makes a difference here, since in this case, we could have always taken a knockout on the Drifloon using our other Slaking, and then from there, they would not be able to take out our remaining Slaking in one turn and actually win the game. So I think we had this on lock no matter what. Anyways, in this case, we will use Quick Search, search out Boss's Orders. We'll use Dusknoir to destroy itself and do some damage onto the Gardevoir. And finally, with Slaking, we can attack with Great Swing to take out that Gardevoir in that last 2 prizes and win the game. And we're back. How do we do? I think we did pretty okay. Let's talk. This list is cool. I don't think I have the skills to take it to a 37th place finish at a 2,000 person regional, but my takeaway here is this is a very fun deck. I don't think I've mastered it at all. I think there's a lot here that I'm not totally seeing with how to play the deck, but I do think it's very fun. I do think it does struggle a little bit with damage output. It struggles a little bit with getting set up consistently, and that's probably why it's been out of the meta, but it's definitely capable of at least taking down your locals, right? So I'd say give this a shot if you have the chance, because this is honestly really cool. Also, low key, like you're playing Black Belt training, you're playing the Grand Tree, you're playing the Pheasantipity, like this is the perfect deck to build out of the trainer's toolkit, right? I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying.